I think it's weird when people are morality checking the average consumer.
Bigspin Podcast, thanks so much for tuning in. If you've been here before, you know that the Bigspin Podcast is all about fingerboarding. And while I love highlighting the OG brands, it's also important to highlight new companies and newcomers to the scene. Pause on the newcomers. This person next to me, rather, has been building his social media presence through unboxings and YouTube reviews. But mainly, or recently, he's actually launched his brand called Dungeon Crawl. And seemingly overnight, it already feels super legit. So it's worth noting that this is Manny Gfb. And he's not a stranger to the Bigspin. He was actually featured on a Fingerboard influencer podcast with Jake and I and Amethyst last year. Manny, how's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much for being on the Bigspin again twice. You know what? I don't know if anyone's been on the Bigspin twice. Jake doesn't count.
Yeah, maybe I'm the first.
God damn. Well,
Honored.
there you go. You like that?
Yeah.
All right, we're just gonna dive straight in, and we're just gonna jump straight in. You have your shoe boots strapped on, because we're jumping straight into it.
Yep.
There's a lot to talk about, right? And I definitely want to start from the beginning, but first we need to address a rumor that I heard about you.
Go for it.
You want to just jump right in?
Yeah.
And listen, it's totally up to you if you want to clear it up right here, right now on the Bigspin, or if you just want to plead the fifth with a simple no comment. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Rumor has it that you used to get your coffee and donuts from a now Grammy-winning Best New Artist, Chapel Roan. True or false?
It's okay. There's like a little bit of nuance to this.
Okay.
So she used to work at a coffee shop that I would go to. It's a donut shop. I'd go there every Friday with my lady.
Okay.
And at the same time, Chapel Roan was an employee there.
Really?
Yeah.
Was this in LA?
Yeah, this is in LA. It's in Highland Park. So when I first saw her, like her face was like really like familiar to me, but not in a way that like, oh, I've seen this celebrity before. It was more like I've talked to this person before. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it until like I recently found out that she did work there. And one of my homies was actually her manager, and they're like mutuals on Instagram. So
That's great. Okay, so you're talking about when you saw her as being famous, you recognized her.
yeah, I was like, I
That's
think I
crazy.
know this person, but yeah, I guess she packaged my donuts at one point.
Damn. From packing donuts to a Grammy.
It's crazy, bro.
I love it. All right, so now that we got the weird Chapel Roan Manny GFB lore out of the way,
Yeah.
I want to start from the beginning. Let's talk about the night you were conceived.
Damn.
I'm just kidding. We don't have to
call
go
my
that far
parents
back.
if I
I
have
know.
to, bro.
Gonna get your mom on the phone. But no, let's talk about your early days, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
Where were you born? Where are you from?
So born and raised in Los Angeles, specifically Lincoln Heights. So born in Boyle Heights, and I've been living in Lincoln Heights since.
Nice. Wait, how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, so we're not that far off.
Yeah, we're not.
I was in like East LA, Montebello.
Damn.
Like
Could've
super
been some-
close.
Hey, we're also like ex-emo kids.
That
So,
is true. It's quite possible you've seen my band in a backyard
There you go.
at some point. I like that. What were you like as a kid? Quiet, outgoing, troublemaker? What were you?
I
how would you describe yourself?
I definitely was quiet,
Okay.
but I was a troublemaker.
Ooh, those are the worst.
But like in a really low key, like weird way, because I was terrified of adults.
Okay.
But I did have like this pull to be very like mischievous at the
Damn.
same time. So if you'll get different answers from different people if you ask them like how I was as a kid.
Troublemaker. A quiet
Yeah.
troublemaker.
Yeah.
Damn, that's almost low key worse than
No,
just a
yeah.
troublemaker.
It is. It's terrible.
Damn, that's crazy. As far as for any hobbies, what were your hobbies growing up other than causing ruckus?
My first hobby ever was probably like I had this. So just to preface this all, I have ADHD.
Okay.
So I go through like moments of like hyperfixation.
Oh hell yeah, I feel you on that.
So I get into things and then I drop them, and it's kind of just like this vicious cycle.
Dude,
And
story of my life.
yeah, so it's been like that since I was a kid. So my first hyperfixation was like animals, just anything animals, like toy
Okay.
animals, like watching Animal Planet.
Damn.
And then when I turned 3, it was skateboarding.
Damn, at 3?
3. I learned how to ollie when I was like 3, almost 4.
Bro, so we're talking skateboard prodigy.
I mean, I'm not that good. Like,
Okay.
yeah, but I learned how to do it very early. I had older cousins who I very much like wanted to copy a lot. Like I looked up to them a lot.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect segue because the next little section here, I want to talk about skateboarding.
Okay.
Because I knew you skateboarded, but now we know you're technically a lifelong skateboarder.
Yeah.
Ollieing at 3 is crazy.
Yeah. So I like I said, I got into it because of my cousins.
Yeah.
And then I remember like my first ever skateboard, like begging my mom for one.
Yeah.
They came, I think they got it for Christmas, but it was like a Walmart like Pokemon board.
Damn, that's hard.
Yeah, it had Ash and Pikachu on it. I actually like recently found the exact same one like
Mm-hmm.
online, and I posted it just to show people.
Hell yeah.
But there's like this picture of me like maybe 3-4 years old on like standing on that
Yeah.
in my school with a Yu-Gi-Oh shirt on.
Damn.
And I brought it for show and tell.
that's
yeah.
that's like the hardest picture.
Yeah.
That should be the picture on
I
Instagram.
love that. I love that picture. And I also have a picture of me maybe around 4 or 5 years old, maybe a little older, but it's so like my local skate park is Lincoln Park Skate Park.
Hell yeah. Okay.
And back then, before it was like what it is now, like all like cemented and nice, it
Yeah.
used to just be one of those like with the black ramps.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so it used to be one
The
of
metal
those.
ones?
Mm-hmm.
Damn,
And
that's
you used
wild.
to need like a little ID to get into it. And so I have my little ID.
Oh,
that
I think
says,
we
like,
talked about that last time. You need like a
Yeah.
little ID to get in there?
Yeah, so I have a
Dude.
little ID that's just like me with like a little skate, like a helmet on, and it's
That's
just,
like your fucking cool guy card.
yeah, dude, I love that thing. I'm gonna frame it one of
That's
these
like your
days.
P pass.
Yeah, it is.
Pause on the P pass.
Unpause.
Yeah, unpause on the P pass. Describe. So we talked about your first skateboard, right? Which, by the way, shout out those like Walmart Mongoose boards.
Oh yeah,
Remember those?
yeah,
the
those
Mongoose
are
ones.
crazy.
Those are crazy with the plastic trucks.
I had one at
Yeah.
one point, but it had like monster truck tires on it.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Yeah,
I
those are
think
crazy.
Mongoose made. I think a couple of companies made them, but remember those black plastic ramps from Walmart?
Yeah, I had one of those too.
They would slide and you would just like
Yeah,
fucking just kill yourself on. Pause on.
that's probably the reason why I never got good at skating was because I had one of those and
Yeah.
like just from wrecking myself on that
Yeah.
thing so many times.
Those
I
are
like,
dangerous, bro. I don't know what they were thinking selling those to kids.
yeah, it was wild.
They were fun. I like
Yeah.
that. We talked about your first skateboard, which was the Pokemon one.
Mhm.
Talk to me about your first pro skateboard though, because obviously huge difference, right?
Yeah,
You go from riding like a plastic Walmart board to a pro board.
Mhm.
Talk to me about that first pro board. What was the graphic? Like what was that brand that you needed? You know what I mean?
So I, from the beginning, was like a really big Rodney Mullen fan. Like
Shout out Rodney.
idolized him to this day. Like I love that guy. He's just so important for skating, and
Hell
even
yeah.
just like as a person, he's like really good at speaking.
Yeah.
I've always resonated, like he's always resonated like a lot to me because he's always been like that kind of weird, quiet guy.
Yeah,
And I
hell
always
yeah.
felt like that as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like look at this guy. He's like amazing at skating, but he's also like very much like me.
Oh yeah.
So
for
I
sure.
always wanted one of his like pro decks, but my parents just couldn't afford it, or like they just didn't really want to. I think my parents always had this weird thing that if they bought me like more skateboards, I'd
Right.
be like more likely to get hurt on them.
Oh, for sure.
So like I always had to beg them to like really get me a skateboard, but
hmm
they kind of like met me in the middle and they
Right.
took me to our local skate shop. It
Yeah.
was called IDS. I think they're still around, maybe under a different name. I think they're Inner City Skate Supply now or something like that.
That's sick.
They're
Okay.
still, so they had like a shop board
Yeah.
and it was black and pink. And
Damn.
like back then, like not a lot of people like had pink. Like a lot of
Yeah.
boys had pink. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah. But we're emo
me-
kids. We're
yeah,
cool with it.
Exactly. Me wanting to be like different, I guess. I was like,
Yeah.
I want that one. And
yeah.
yeah, so I got that and I got it set up with like just very basic like parts, like mini logo parts. And
Okay.
yeah, that was my first
Ready on
like pro, I would say like a good quality setup.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
When you were skateboarding, back in the day, was it ever like, I want to go pro with this? Or was it always just kind of fun?
It's definitely
for
always
fun.
been fun.
Yeah.
I think I was very sheltered as a kid.
Okay.
So when I like went skating, my parents had to be there. Like I had to go to the park, like the park
Really?
to skate. They never really
Okay.
let me go on the streets because also, Lincoln Heights when I was growing up was like super rough. Like
Yeah. I mean,
I,
it's still kind of rough now, to be fair.
it's yeah, I mean it's getting rough
Yeah.
again. But for a while it was so I almost got shot like 3 times just like walking in
Damn.
my neighborhood as a kid. Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
so they're very protective of that and very aware of that. So they just it was always just kind of like a backyard thing.
Right.
Once in a while, go to the park. So it was never
Did they
like
make you wear the helmet?
yeah, for the
Okay.
most part. I had this like Tony Hawk helmet that was like bright yellow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was never really like to be pro. It was more just like
Yeah.
having fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that. What was like your peak trick? Like your flat ground trick?
Yeah, so I would say like maybe fakie varial.
Damn.
I was like doing stairs at one point. But this was
Yeah.
later in college. So what happens is like skateboard's always kind of been there for me,
Yeah.
but I would get distracted by other things
Other stuff in
and
life.
then
Yeah.
pick it up. Like music was one that distracted me for a while. I was heavy into that, but
Hell
once I
yeah.
graduated high school, like and started working, I was like, wait, I can buy skateboards now.
Yeah.
Like
You can use your
whatever I
own money.
want. Yeah. So I
Hell
got
yeah.
into it for like maybe a good 5 years, and that was peak. Like I was trying stairs, I was fakie varial, like
That's crazy.
just stuff like that. Like got a little more gnarly with it,
I like that.
but I was still very afraid.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I feel like and what's crazy is like once that fearlessness goes away, it like never comes back. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like once you lose it, it doesn't come back.
Yeah. I had
You know?
a lot of gnarly spills when I was really young. Like I
Yeah.
still have like a bald spot on my chin.
Damn.
I got like a scar on my knee. Just like that really traumatized me.
Damn, that's
Um,
crazy.
the
Like,
the
yeah.
the scar on the chin is crazy. Like those things where you like you if you need to get under a car, you kind of like drive it up. I don't know what they're called. The little like
I know what you're talking about. Like you kind of lay back on, you roll under the car.
yeah, and like
Mhm.
some of them look like little ramps, and they just have like the spikes to grip onto the
Yeah.
wheel.
Yeah.
So I don't know what came over me as a child, but I was like, I could skate that. So I
God.
full blast like rode into it, fell with my chin onto those little spikes,
Oh hell no.
and I like there was a hole on my chin.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was like maybe 5 when this happened.
God damn. Yeah. See, I have like the little hole in the beard,
Okay.
but that's just because my dad gave me shitty genetics.
Oh,
I don't have like a cool story for that.
I got that too, low key.
Uh,
Right? Yeah.
Shout out, dads
Yeah.
with holy genes. There we go. Talk to me about your favorite brand of skateboards and possibly even your favorite skater. I know you mentioned Rodney, but was that like top favorite skater? And what was your favorite skateboard brand?
Anything affiliated with Rodney was like,
Hell yeah.
Enjoy,
Hell yeah.
like almost, like all of that was just like,
Did you wear globes? The
oh, I
shoes?
didn't. I never,
Dude.
I was like a Vans only kid. Like,
Really?
yeah.
You know what? The globes I will say are the shoes that got away.
Yeah.
I did Vans forever, and then it was like I really wanted globes. Never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened.
It's wild. I was actually the first kid at my elementary school to pull up with like checkered Vans.
Damn.
And I got bullied to heck with that.
Oh, see, I thought that
And
was gonna go
then-
the other way.
No, and then like next school year, everyone's wearing them. I'm like, bro, I got
Damn.
shoved into a trash can over this. Like,
Did you really?
yeah, I used to get shoved into trash cans. I was little.
Damn.
I've always been like a little guy. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just boom, pick me up.
Took advantage of the little guy. Positive.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. The bullying's crazy. Let me ask you, what role did the Tony Hawk games play in your like growing up with skateboarding?
Oh, dude, that was huge. That I think is probably what really got me into video games. And also, with my parents being so overprotective, like
Right.
that was for a while, like that was the only way I could kind of like indulge in skating and
Oh,
skating
wow.
culture was like
Yeah.
video games.
Okay.
So the Tony Hawks were huge. I had like all of them. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I stopped like the last one I didn't buy, like where I stopped buying them was like Project 8. Like I
Okay.
was like
I think
heavy.
I did Project. What came first, Project 8 or Wasteland?
I think I had Wasteland. So
Okay.
maybe I just know I didn't get Project 8 and like
I
Yeah.
think for me it got kind of weird when they did the Wii and they gave you the board.
oh
Remember that one? I don't
yeah.
think yeah, that was like,
Yeah, I got too
think I'm done.
gimmicky. Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm
but
done. Who was your go-to? Was it Rodney?
Rodney.
Hell yeah.
I was like
All the stats.
always been a Rodney Glazer, bro. It's been crazy.
Shout out Rodney.
It's funny, like a lot of people like look back at like, oh, like this skater was crazy, that like
Yeah.
this team was crazy, but for me it was like, bro, I'm sitting in front of like the giant TV, putting like rewatching almost round 3 like 20 times in a row just to
Hell
see
yeah.
Rodney skate. Like it was like that. Like I had an obsession with that guy.
Yo, what's the one where he's battling day one on the benches?
Oof.
I forget what it's called, but man, I remember watching that video at my homie's house, and it's like we sat there, and it's like the pizza pockets got cold, dog, because we were just watching that thing over
Yeah.
and
It's
over.
mesmerizing watching those two go at
Yeah.
it. Like, especially when you're a kid, you're just like, what?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know which one. Might
No,
be
yeah.
3. I don't know.
Who knows? Let us know in the comments. And so do you still skate now, or what's the skating situation like now?
Right now it's definitely just something I do once in a while.
Okay.
I'm just trying to not get hurt, you know.
Oh,
I'm
hell
starting
yeah.
to feel the body aches, you know,
Hell
the
yeah.
the aging, the usual aging
Well,
stuff.
not just that, bro, but insurance.
That, yeah. Wait, I have a good job, bro. I'm covered.
Oh, there you go. But let me tell you something. You break your ankle?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll take me out.
Hell
But
yeah.
I've been getting into scootering lately.
Oh, that's right. You just bought a scooter.
Yeah, so I just, you know, Jet got one, my buddy Jet, and
Shout out
just
Jet.
seeing him like already be so gnarly on that, I was like,
Dude,
I need to get in on
Is
that.
there anything Jet can't do?
He literally can do anything.
He can. I think I remember when he first started coming to the Sunday sessions, and he was relatively new to like kind of getting into fingerboarding, and that was less than 6 months ago, and now he's just like
Yeah, that guy's
a
gnarly.
beast.
He like with him, like when he does something, it has to be like 1,000%
Top notch.
Like, yeah,
He strikes me as that kind of guy.
yeah, he's awesome.
Damn, shout out Jet. Okay, so you definitely don't seem like the type to shy away from sharing your opinions online.
Yeah,
And so I want to touch on that during this pod. There's going to be times where I'm going to hit you with some very direct questions about certain things, if that's cool with you. And I just want to get your opinion on that.
go for it.
Okay, here we go. And this kind of ties into fingerboarding and skateboarding. It says there's a sentiment among fingerboarders in the community that, and not everyone, to be fair, but a lot, that somehow skating gives you extra cool points as a fingerboarder, or even some go out of their way to promote that they skate or used to skate. You know what I mean? Like they'll be in their stories posting like weird ollies or pushing around, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think skating makes someone more valid in the scene as opposed to someone who doesn't skate anymore or who maybe has never skated?
You know, I think you can definitely like tell who the skaters are, and like it really like affects their fingerboarding style.
Right.
And I don't think it makes them more valid. I think it just translates into the fingerboarding so well that you're just like, damn, like that guy's got like that skater swag when he's fingerboarding.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say it makes you like more valid or anything. I just think it just helps you kind of like know how to make things look more realistic.
Right. Like
Yeah.
trick selection and style.
But also, like I've noticed, there's kind of like a negative thing that comes out of that is like when a guy is like so into skating, like he starts to like hold fingerboarding at the same like caliber almost.
Yeah.
It's like you can tell the guys that were like around skating, because then
Yeah.
they start talking about like sponsorship etiquette and
Yeah.
things like that. And to me, it's like there's definitely crossover like between those two things.
Yeah.
But it's very important to keep them separate.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
For sure.
yeah, it's better that way.
Yeah. I think that there's definitely room for brands to want to mimic like skateboarding and skateboarding brands.
Mhm.
But I do feel like there's definitely a too far point
Yeah.
where it's like, yes, they should be hand in hand, but like done correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree. It gets messy.
Yeah, it can get messy quick. And to be fair, I think the whole being sponsored and being a pro fingerboarder, I think that's, I don't want to say it's new, right? Because people in the comments are going to be like, no, it's not new. But when I first started fingerboarding like 3 or 4 years ago,
Mhm.
I truly felt like there was, like, you didn't hear about people going pro. Like, you didn't hear about it. And then it was like, I remember I was on Sorry at the time, and I would ask Nash, like, I would tell Nash, like, yo, Sorry, like, needs a pro. Like, you got to announce a new pro. And, since then they've announced people. But I feel like in the past couple of years, that's kind of like been a bigger thing,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that comes with probably like more people making decks and more people
Yeah.
becoming pro. So like it kind of pushes brands to be like, oh, I need to start stepping my game up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect transitional question here. I know we just kind of touched on it a little bit, but very direct here. It says, do you think someone can fully love and appreciate fingerboarding, even if skateboarding wasn't a big part of their life growing up?
Yeah, 1000%. Like I said, I think there's moments when it crosses over and it translates very well, but I think like fingerboarding's so special in the way that it's so accessible to everyone. Like not everyone is going to be like down to like fully send it on skateboarding.
Hell yeah.
But with fingerboarding, like you got nothing to lose, man.
Yeah.
You're not going to injure your thumb or anything, you know?
Well, you never know.
Actually, I have seen
I was
people
about to say,
yeah.
I would never know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think yeah, they're two different things.
Okay. I can appreciate that. Let's, now that we've transitioned over to talking about fingerboarding, what is your earliest memory of fingerboarding? How does that tie into what you got going on?
Like tech decks or like wooden
Sure.
fingerboard? Okay, tech decks.
First memory of tech decks.
Yeah, I mean, my earliest memory of tech decks is like one of the Christmases. Me and my brother, like, we asked for tech decks.
Okay.
And I don't know if my dad got a bonus that year or what, but he bought us like stacks of tech decks. Like,
Damn.
like I don't know. He was feeling generous that year, but I remember we're like sitting there and there's like 60 tech decks in front of us, and
Holy
we're just like,
crap, dude.
okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the
Going
earliest
in.
memory. And then like, you know, trading them in middle school, and we used to try to play skate back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
That, see, and I've said this so many times on the pod, but it never occurred to me like that's what they were for. They were always to me like, oh, I got this one, you got that one, let's trade. But it was never like,
Yeah.
you know?
It was like the kids who like did skate
Yeah.
is we, you know, it,
Yeah.
it was so easy to just be like, all right, let's play skate on this. And it was more
That's
of like,
crazy.
like flicking, praying to a certain extent, but also like, you know, the easy ones, like a shove it, you can kind of do that easily.
Yeah.
Some of us figured out how to ollie pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then it was like setting up the binders, like, oh, I'm going to 50-50 this
Dude,
binder and
hell
then
yeah.
shove it off. You know, like just things like that. It was
That's
funny.
crazy.
I have this memory of like us playing skate during class.
Yeah.
And my homie like thought he was like the impossible master. So he would
Damn.
like flick it, but his version of impossibles was like trying to flick it as high as possible.
Damn.
And so he flicked it and it hit the ceiling, and the teacher just turned and like saw it fall and took all our tech decks.
Damn, the homie burned the spot.
He did, bro. It
Damn.
was wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Homie burned the spot with the crazy impossible.
Yeah, it was worth it.
It was worth it. Was there a specific moment that comes to mind when you kind of realized like that, like really hooked you? Like, was it your first kickflip? Was it like, what was it, a graphic? Was it a company? Like, what was it that really solidified in your mind? I fucking love fingerboarding. Like, what was that moment?
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I feel like I need to talk about where I first saw wooden fingerboarding.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
first.
Do your thing.
Because when I like saw that and when I like started doing it, there's
Yeah.
like a, bro, there's like a 15-year gap.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
so
for everyone.
yeah.
You know
so
what I mean?
the first time I saw a wooden fingerboard, I don't know what came first, but one was like my brother. He was like in maybe middle school at the time, and I was in high school.
Yeah.
And he just came up to me and was like, yo, look at these wooden fingerboards, what people are doing.
Damn.
And he didn't want to ask my parents for them because,
Yeah.
you know, at the time it was kind of sketchy, like sending people
Yeah.
money through
Through
envelopes.
the mail. Yeah.
So,
you just
yeah.
sent money and hoped you get a deck in 6 months.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he never really like pushed for it. So we would just kind of watch. And then also I went to high school with someone who was like super into it, like probably already sponsored back then when we were in high school in like the 2010s, posting content. And like just out of like wanting to be a homie and like supporting, I would just watch his stuff and I tell him like, yo, this is super dope. But it never kind of like pulled me in enough to like, oh, I'm gonna do this on my own, because I was into like music at the time. Yeah. So fast forward like last year, basically, my brother, he has like a good job now.
Yeah.
And he just had this realization. I think we were like sitting there and he's like, yo, like I can buy fingerboards now, like wooden fingerboards.
That adult money hits different.
Yeah. So we went on and we're looking at the vault and like all that stuff. And
Hell yeah.
he ordered an LC board.
Okay.
And he used that. I saw it in person. I was like messing with it. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to get me one of these.
Heck yeah.
So I first I went to Playhouse.
Okay.
Because I just
In
I
Montebello?
Googled like fingerboarding store.
Yeah.
And it showed up and I was like, oh, I'm going to go and see what this is about. And some lady opened the door and like sold me like this like really cheap like complete.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's like a Tickmon. I don't know what that is. I've never seen it since.
Okay.
So I bought that, and then the next day my brother wanted to go to the vault, so we went, and then I bought a vault complete.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of like mess with it, and then eventually was like, you know what? Like I learned how to kickflip kind of on this. I want to
Yeah.
buy something better. Then I ordered the Jake Pro model.
Dude,
That
that was actually the first video that I saw from yours. Jake had sent it to me.
oh shoot,
And was
okay.
like, dude, like someone else is doing content. He's doing it good. I
Yeah.
remember that message, opening it up, and I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. Like there was like an issue. I think it was they were trying to get the signatures on the cards and all
Right.
that. So it took a while to like
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I got like frustrated and I told my girlfriend, we're going to Slush Cult. Like,
Yeah.
and I went and I made like an awful complete, like, or
Heck yeah.
I got an awful deck and I just
Yeah.
like those
Parse
trucks,
it all together.
and, you know, yeah. And it
That's
was,
sick.
yeah. And then the Collier came like maybe like a week after. And then,
After.
yeah.
That's so crazy. I feel like we're so spoiled in Southern California that we can talk about going to like,
Yeah.
you know, a Playhouse, the Vault,
Yeah.
Slush. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
So
we're just
lucky.
like with all in like 45 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
So that was kind of the moment where I was like, this is sick. Like
This is it.
it was cool. It felt like I felt like a kid again, like going to a shop and like
Oh, for sure.
looking at the decks, like what do they have, and building it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Talking about, I know you mentioned like your first kickflip.
Yeah.
I think that everyone kind of remembers like their first kickflip or that first crazy trick.
Mhm.
In your experience, what was that trick that you learned that not so much like a flick and pray, right? Because we've all been there.
Yeah.
But once you move past that and like you're able to think like, I want to kickflip, and then you kickflip. Like, what was the trick for you that you thought about doing and you did, and that moment was like, holy crap! Like, what was that trick for you?
It wasn't. I think it was the kickflip. I remember. So like my job, I'm a substitute teacher, and
Okay.
when I sub for high school, like there's not much to do. I just take roll and the kids do
Yeah.
like busy work.
Yeah.
So I remember I set up like my bag and like some textbooks to kind of
Mhm.
block the view from the kids so they wouldn't
Yeah.
see me and my laptop.
Damn.
And then I
okay.
just locked in and I was like, I'm learning how to kickflip today. So I
Damn.
just kept doing it
Kept
until
doing
like
it.
pretty soon I was doing like 3 in a row and I was like, all right, I think I got it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like that moment where it was like,
Hell yeah.
I learned it.
That's a good moment. That's
Yeah,
a good
it
moment.
is. It was nice.
Who would you say are some of your biggest inspirations in fingerboarding when it comes to tricks, filming, style? Like just to name a few. Who do you got on your short list?
I'd say number 1 is Jet.
Hell yeah.
Because he's the first person that like I saw like in person who was like just like shredding,
Gnarly.
and I was like blown away by that.
Right.
Because I'd see it online, and
Yeah.
seeing it in person is like a whole different thing. So I would say probably Jet is like the one that like just seeing him in person makes me want to be better. So I
Yeah.
look up to him a lot when it
We're gonna
comes
have to
that.
clip that for Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
and just put
hey,
it
let's
up
get
on
the
Friday.
edits going.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna send that to Jed and be like, he's the one.
Yeah,
I'm
there
gonna
you
clip
go.
that of Manny
Yeah, he
saying
knows
Jed's the
that.
one.
I tell him this all the time. Like,
Yeah.
bro, you're my favorite fingerboarder.
He knows, dude. He's a goat. He's goated.
Yeah, he's a
Dude,
good guy.
the double impossible's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
He's a master.
Yeah, and he's a good person. And that's more important.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Jed is one of those dudes. And mind you, I've only hung out with him a few times. And I already feel like he's someone that like, if you needed to call, like whether you just needed like to borrow a cup of milk,
Bro.
gallon of gas, my car ran out, I need to
Yes.
jump. The homie's gonna be there. Homie's gonna pull up.
No, I've had moments where he's like, I'm like miles away, and he's like, bro, I'll go right now if you need this.
yeah.
I'll drive to your house to grab what you need, and I'll meet you in the valley. Like,
Damn.
he's
Shout
the
out
best.
Jet.
Shout out Jet.
We're gonna need some once we get the rider pods off the ground. We're definitely gonna need a mini jet pod.
Yes.
That'll be sick. So here's an interesting question. So I typically interview people who are like super like 10 years, 15 years into the community. And I like to ask them like who are some of those top brands. So with you, you've been fingerboarding for what, about a year?
Not even a year yet.
No, not even a year yet. So I think this would be an interesting take. When you first started a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and maybe it's changed from now, but when you first started, who did you perceive as being like the super heavy hitter top brands?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Black River,
Yeah.
because also I had heard that like in high school from like the guy that I went to high school with that
Yeah.
fingerboarded and my brother. So Black River, that's immediately what I looked up when I like kind of did the search a year ago, or
Yeah.
a little less than a year ago.
Okay.
So I would say Black River. I think just based on like the search, like Slush Cult came up, Collier too. So those are the ones that I thought were like, oh, those are like the guys.
Hell
Those
yeah.
are the big guys.
Hell yeah. You mentioned a friend in high school. You still like, did you get into fingerboarding like more because of that friend? Are you still homies with them or?
No, we don't really. I mean, I tried
Did
to
they
kind
still
of.
fingerboard?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like in the scene and everything. I tried to reach out like to like, show like, hey, I'm fingerboarding now, but I wasn't really like, the energy wasn't reciprocated, let's say. So I kind of took that as like, all right, I'm
All
just
right.
not gonna
I
push.
know
for
my
it.
place.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
and I'm
All
not
right.
worried about it. Like
It is what it
you
is.
know, the thing too is like, I think I come off as like a content creator to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people don't really vibe with that. Like,
Okay.
they're just kind of seeing it as like, oh, this guy's like just makes like videos. He's not like a serious
Yeah.
fingerboarder. So I think maybe that plays into it. I don't know. I never had like beef with this person in the past, and
Yeah.
I thought we were like cool, but I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
there
if
you
I
go.
run into him in a at an event, I'm gonna be like, hey,
Chop
what's
it
up,
up.
bro?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
No hard feelings.
No, that's perfect. And I'm glad you brought up the whole social media thing because in a moment we're going to transition and that's
Yeah.
like chef's kiss. Couldn't have planned that answer better.
Yeah,
I
bro.
love that.
I'm the Segway master.
There you go. Yo, pause on the Segway Master.
Pause.
And okay, since you're pretty new to the scene, I wanted to ask, because when I and I say it respectfully when I talk about you being new, because I think you have like a fresh perspective, right? Like I talk to so many people who've been in the shits for so long, that they have one perspective, but talking to someone who's relatively new, you get that whole new fresh perspective.
Yeah.
So from that point, what would you say is some of the best parts of the fingerboard community so far? And on the flip side, what are some of the worst parts of the fingerboarding community so far?
Yeah. So the best part is the people, like 1,000%. That's the reason why I stayed fingerboarding. Like, content aside, like that's fun for me, but it gets really stale really quick. Like just feeling the need to post all the time.
Yeah.
So the way it really stays fresh for me is like the people. So like I've just from these last few months of fingerboarding, I've met some of like the coolest people I've ever met in my entire life, and
Hell
like
yeah.
they already feel like lifelong friends.
That's the best.
And I think that's like the most precious thing that the fingerboard community has to offer is like
Yeah.
we all have this hobby that's a little weird, but
Yeah,
it's
a little
still
quirky.
like it's fun and it's cool like to us.
Yeah.
And it brings so many people from like different walks of life together. And I think it's hard to find a lot of hobbies that will do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the best thing. I think it's the people, because I've met some of the best people.
Hell
But
yeah.
on the flip side,
I've
met some of the worst people.
Damn.
Like
There you go. I feel it.
there's a lot of like weird with any community, any sort of gathering of people, any sort of hobby. Like there's always going to be people with like who are gatekeepers, people who are like
I feel that.
with big egos. And I think that's the thing. That's like the rotten tooth in the mouth that is the fingerboarding community. It's like
That's a fucked up way to put it, but yeah.
yeah, it's just I think the fingerboarding community, like on a surface level, is always painted as like, oh, everyone's welcome, everyone's like friendly,
Super community.
but you get into it. It's like the iceberg thing. Like
Yeah.
the lower you get, like you start to kind of
Start to
feel
see
like
the politics.
the politics.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like I think a lot of it's like money related. A lot of it's like I've been here longer, so you
That sense of entitlement.
yeah. And with
Yeah.
like someone like me who goes into it like full blast, like
Yeah.
posting content, posting my opinions,
Yeah.
I think that comes out like so quick.
Yeah.
And very, very quickly I realized like, oh, like there's toes that don't want to be stepped on.
Yeah.
And there's little cliques that don't want me near them. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing that kills me about the fingerboarding community. It's like we
Yeah.
don't need that. Like we're just here to have fun.
Hell
And
yeah.
hey, some people are here to make their money, and I get that.
Yeah.
But also like it doesn't have to be this way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm gonna clip that. Just gonna run for president 20.
Let's do it.
What
Let's
is it,
run it.
2028?
Y'all want a socialist president?
There you go. God damn, there you go. Damn, I have to clip that. Clip that and the jet thing.
Nah, don't clip that. I'm gonna end up Guantanamo or something.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I was gonna try it. No, never mind. Not even gonna say it. Not even gonna say it.
Yeah, don't go there.
Yeah, I was about to say, reel it in. Okay, so even though you're obviously relatively new to the fingerboard community, you're not new to social media though, as far as like posting content. And later in the pod, I definitely want to talk to you a little bit about your background and how you did a company prior to this whole thing.
Yeah.
But just transitioning into social media, right? You're not new to social media, right? But you know, negativity and hate on social media and hazing and stuff like that is such a huge thing, and in a lot of ways keeps people away or discourages people from making content.
Yeah.
Transitioning now into social media, how do you deal with the hate on social media?
Yeah. So on the last time I was on the pod, I think people might remember that I was like, I go goblin mode and just like,
I remember you said goblin
yeah.
mode.
And you know, there's still moments where I feel like I need to do that, but you know, I've also learned that it's a lot better to just not pay attention to it. And that almost has like the same effect on the people commenting, where it like really gets to them when you're not like feeding into it.
Yeah.
It's almost like when someone like hate comments, they kind of want a reaction out of you.
For sure.
And I've learned that.
Yeah.
And I know that was more like your guys' take at the
Yeah.
time. And I think I agree. But sometimes like when I see like a grown man hating,
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
let
digging in.
me cook this real quick.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like it's whatever. People are gonna hate on you if you're posting anything.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure. It's one of those things where I think I kind of got to a point where I kind of realized that they do want the response.
yeah.
And when they don't get your attention, you know, because my favorite thing is this. Sometimes homies will send me screenshots of people's stories and stuff. And recently there was this thing where they were like sending me screenshots because this person was tagging me, right?
Okay.
And they were like, oh, like, worst fingerboard, or it was like most overrated fingerboarder, right?
Yeah.
And they tagged me in the story and stuff like that. And then I go to the homie's page, yo, tell me why it says follow back.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And right when I saw it, I was like, we're good.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
good. You know what I mean?
You know, I think I've learned that if you go into a space
Yeah.
being genuine and just doing your thing,
Yeah.
and you have haters,
Yeah.
you're doing something right, bro.
Hell yeah.
Like, it means you're popping off.
Hell yeah. It's a form of flattery.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Would you say you're a fan? And I'm curious to see what you have to say, because I asked you this question for the influencer pod.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a fingerboarder who creates social media content, or would you describe yourself as a content creator who's passionate about fingerboarding? And does the two matter in your opinion? You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
someone viewed you as an influencer who fingerboards or a fingerboarder who creates content, like does that matter how they view you?
Yeah. Well, back then I think I said I was a content creator who fingerboards,
Okay.
but now I would say I'm leaning more towards being a fingerboarder who makes content.
Okay.
Because these days I'm not so like hyper focused on making the content. I'm
Mhm.
more of like, I'm gonna fingerboard. If I get like a new thing or if I want to talk about something, then a video is gonna come out of it.
Hell yeah.
Whereas before I was chasing the content,
Okay.
and I think I've gotten better at fingerboarding too.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I kind of like, I'm embracing that side more,
Yeah.
and I think it does affect the way people see you. Like how I said earlier, like some people just don't vibe with that. They
Yeah.
think it's a little like almost childish or like
Taboo.
yeah, like they see content creators as less than because they're content creators.
Yeah.
And I think that doesn't really make sense at all, because content creators are the ones who are bringing like the brands more money than anyone else.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, with
I've been
exposure.
saying that for a long time.
Yeah, and as someone who has like experience like being on the end where like I'm making the money and I'm
Yeah.
offering the product, the first thing I did was go look for influencers to like
Right.
push my product.
Hell yeah.
So to me,
It's the
like,
name of the game.
I think the people who are making the money in the scene should be more seen as like the authentic people, like, because these are the guys that are driving, that are kind of like the backbone of the scene, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because without people that are selling products, you're gonna have to go back to DIYing,
Yeah.
you know, the sketchy tech deck molds
Hell
and all
yeah.
that. So like, I just
Shaping
think
the
like,
tech decks.
I just think
Tech
there,
deck trucks.
yeah, there is a negative kind of connotation that comes with being a social media guy, but
Yeah.
it's whatever. People gonna hate.
Yeah. I love that. And I do have more questions in regards to those specific topics.
Yeah.
But real quick, tell me about your username. It's very plain and simple.
Uh-huh.
Was that kind of thought out? Because even for me, mine was like, I didn't want to be at an event and tell people to follow me and have to like, oh,
Yeah.
it's 3 P's or 2 dots or you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But where does the simple name come from? What was the thought process behind that?
Well, I guess like when you look up fingerboarding, you see like the FB
FB.
everywhere.
Hell
So
yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess this is the meta here. Like
Yeah.
it's gotta have FB in it.
Hell yeah.
And in the past, I've always ran with like more like pseudonames when I've made content.
Yeah.
And this time I was like, you know what? Like I'm finally gonna be Manny on something.
Okay.
Because like my like personal username has been the same for like over 10 years,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not my actual name.
Hmm.
So I wanted to be like, you know what? I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm gonna like be more open as a person.
Hmm.
So my my last name is G. It's Garcia. So
Is that what the G stands for?
yeah,
Doesn't stand for garlic.
no, definitely not garlic.
What did Jake say it stood for at Denny's?
Um, I don't remember.
I'm not gonna repeat it
Oh,
on the.
I
I'm not
remember.
gonna repeat it on the
Yeah,
pod.
let's not repeat it.
He'll fight me.
Yeah, but
Uh,
yeah. So Manny G. Manny
Okay,
Garcia.
I like that. Did you have a MySpace, or was
Yeah,
that
I
past your
did.
time?
No, I
What,
had
what
a
was your
MySpace.
MySpace username?
Oof, bro. I think it might have been like Manny Slayer 13 or something
Damn, that's
crazy
crazy.
like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, something like that.
What was your profile song?
Oh, you know what? No, I just remembered that was my gamer tag, Manny Slayer.
Damn, Manny Slayer.
My MySpace was like Razor Boy or something like
Damn.
edgy like that. Yeah, I wasn't emo or anything like that. Like, but it was just like
Damn.
Razor Boy. I thought razors are sick.
My first one was lyrics from a Matchbook Romance song. You remember
Shoot,
that? And
yeah.
I can't even remember but it was super emo.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I've
Damn.
went through like Of Mice and Manny. I've went through like all
Dude,
the
that's
bands.
actually hard.
Yeah, Pierce the Manny maybe.
Pause on Pierce. Pause on Pierce.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
hey, yo.
Unpaused.
Unpaused.
We're an
We're
open book
unpausing
here.
it. All right,
Yeah.
we're unpausing it. All right, sounds good. Here we go. Moving on with social media, right? So many people jump to the conclusion believing that every influencer does it for the views or does it for the clout. I think it's safe to say, based on like the conversation we've had tonight and even conversations we've had in private, that's definitely not the case for you. So why do you choose to create content around your fingerboarding when you can choose just a fingerboard and not necessarily create content?
Yeah, so like all my life I've been into making content. Like I
Yeah.
just get a kick out of like recording, editing, posting, and seeing where the video goes.
Yeah.
So I always throughout my life have found myself creating content around whatever I'm hyper fixating on.
Yeah.
The thing about fingerboarding is that I find it to be like the ultimate hobby, because not only can I like make content around it,
Yeah.
but there's like a progression of the skill
Okay.
that goes into it.
Yeah.
And I get to document that. I get to buy products, show products, and then,
Yeah.
now I'm making products. So to me, like the content creation has always been something that I'm gonna do.
Right.
But with fingerboarding, it's just been so perfect, and my content is so low effort on my
Yeah.
end that I'm able to just crank out a video like
Not too much
nothing.
thought into
No,
it.
like no thought into it. It's completely like all my voiceovers. It's like one take, like just winging it.
I
Like
love that.
yeah,
So, and I think I've asked you this in the influencer pod, but just to refresh our memory. So you're more, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're more of like not so much planning out your content. You're very like organic, very just
yeah,
set the phone up,
Yeah.
shoot one
Mhm.
take, one voiceover.
yeah. So like if I like order something or like someone's sending me something, I'll just be like, all right, I'm gonna record myself opening it. Once that's done, like I'll go to my car because like there's no echo in my car.
Yeah.
And then I'll just like, well, I'll edit the video real quick, and then I'll do the voiceover in my car.
Yeah.
Usually it's like first thing in the morning for some reason. Like
Yeah.
I'll film at night, and then when I wake up in the morning, I'll get into my car and I'll do the voiceover. It's usually one take, two takes maybe,
Yeah.
and then I'll just edit it and post it. And that's kind of how the videos go.
That's crazy.
Not too much planning.
I like that. And you don't have to name names, right? We don't want to hurt any feelings. But has there ever been something that you ordered that you wanted to make a video on? When it came, it might have been ass, or just something was wrong with it to where you were bummed out and didn't make a video on it?
Yeah. For the most part, like I try to be as authentic as possible.
Okay.
But when the package is like, or the item is like completely like unsalvageable, or
Right.
the product is complete garbage where like I can't say anything positive about it,
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it out there. And not as much as like to be fake or anything, but it's like I don't want to be that guy, a lot of
Yeah.
times, cuz even with me trying to be positive and
Yeah.
authentic, like I get hated on for it, for
Yeah.
saying like, "Oh, this guy has strong opinions." But it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but if I make a video where like the product is actually bad and I say it's bad, how are people going to react to that?
Yeah.
So there's been a few videos that never got like posted just
Yeah.
cuz it was just something broke in shipment, like to the point where it's like unfixable, or the person, like I don't want to make them look like, I don't want to look like I'm
Yeah.
hating on them,
No,
because they're
for
good
sure.
people.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, I think I posted one video in my whole time being on the internet where I was like, "This is ass." I didn't say those words, but it was
Yeah.
bad. And till this day, I mean, the video did super well. The company was super butthurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
They're
It
doing fine. But
all
man, till this day, I
yeah.
get questions. I get comments from the internet of people telling me I was a sack of shit for the video.
Yeah, you can't be honest, you can't lie these
Yeah.
days. Like people are gonna get mad. So if I post a video and I'm not like
Yeah.
addressing the quality of something, or
Yeah.
like, then you probably can read that as like, oh, low key, it's not that good.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is another one of those ones that that I want your opinion on, right? Because I feel like you said, like you are very opinionated. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say. And more so, this is the way I kind of have always seen this. And I'm just curious as to see if you think I'm totally full of shit or if you just agree, right? So a lot of the time people give influencers a hard time or a hard time. I don't know why I said it like that. And they kind of go with this like, oh, you're just posting for clout, and their favorite thing to say is like, oh, just fingerboard for fun. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
sentiment. But even something as simple as posting your fingerboard clips on Instagram,
Mm.
doesn't that in some way come down to wanting some recognition from the community and from your peers?
Yeah.
So technically, everyone who posts on Instagram, by their own definition,
Yeah.
is doing it for the views.
I think so.
Agree or disagree?
I agree to a certain extent,
Okay.
because like there's an argument to be made where like, oh, I'm posting this for like progress, like but also like
Who
you
the
don't
fuck
have
is
to
posing
post.
for? Come on.
I mean I've kind of seen that.
You could save that shit in your camera roll.
Exactly. That's the thing. I think it'll basically it'll always boil down to like, you wanted someone to see this.
Hell yeah.
Even if it's just for the homies, even if it's like for whatever, like
Yeah.
you low key want someone to see that. So
100%.
it's a little weird when people try to deny that, I think.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Okay. And here's another kind of, I don't want to say hot topic, but here's another little cute question here for you. See what you think. See if you want to dig into an answer.
Of course.
There are definitely people in the community, whether they would care to admit it or not, who are definitely in their feelings about newcomers or influencers who may or may not have bigger followings or platforms than them.
Okay.
And I don't say the bigger platforms part to sound like a jerk, right?
Yeah.
I'm just calling it like I see it. And if the shoe fits, shoe fits. But some of them feel like because they've been around longer, maybe have been producing content longer, or consider themselves like a better fingerboarder, that they should have more recognition. So therefore they kind of hate on the new guys. What's your stance on that? What's your take on that, I guess?
Man, well, that's a very like personal question to me, because
Sure.
I've felt that vibe from people.
Okay.
I think if you're not putting in the work,
Yeah.
and if you're not offering something fresh,
Yeah.
like what do you expect? Like people are always going to gravitate towards someone who's innovating, someone who's being like super creative with their videos,
Yeah.
people who are more like candid about it, like us, like we speak our opinions
On the fly. Yeah.
even if like, look, you and I feel like we have very similar like roles in this.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, obviously you're bigger and your videos are like more
Is
animated.
that a fat joke?
No, definitely not.
No.
But
Let's try to get
shout
canceled
out
on the
fat
pod.
people, bro.
Yeah,
I used to
shut up, bro. I love this save, bro. Shout out fat people. Yo, shout out my fat
I used to be
brothers out there.
fat, bro. Like my whole life, I was a big boy.
Hell
I
yeah.
recently lost some weight, but
Hell yeah.
I'm
hell
always a fat boy at heart. Anyways,
yeah. All right. Go ahead.
I get the fat pass. Nah.
Shout out the elbow only guys. Go ahead.
Anyways, yeah. So like you're more animated with your videos,
Yeah.
and people are gonna hate on that, but like that's what people like these days. Like if you go into any other sort of like space on the internet,
Yeah.
like the people who are popping off are the animated people who are like,
Yeah.
you're offering something for like the youth. Like,
Yeah.
like ultimately, like a lot of what drives our views is the youth, like the kids.
Yeah.
And the kids love that. They grew up on like, Logan Paul. They grew up on like all those like weird foods that I think they're weird, but
Yeah.
like that kind of, that's the vibe. Like,
Yeah.
and if you're not willing to do that,
Yeah.
like I think it's hurting you a little. And also like if you take a more approach with like me, like I think my videos are a little more palatable for the average person because like I
Yeah.
kind of speak just how I speak normally.
It's normal voice.
Yeah, like just chill. Like
love
that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like we have very similar roles in this.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we have views. And if you look at these OGs who are just posting clips, they're insane fingerboarding, like that's sick to me. But to the average person who's going into like looking for fingerboarding content, like that's not gonna vibe with them the same way our stuff is.
Yeah.
And if you're mad about that, like you should do something about it.
Yeah.
Like don't hate on us for it.
Yeah. Because hating doesn't look good on no one. And I feel
It
like you can always
doesn't.
tell the haters.
Exactly.
You can always tell the haters.
And it's funny because like a lot of these OGs, like not, and I don't want to call anyone out like specifically, but like a lot of them ride for like different like fingerboard companies.
Yeah.
And to me, like it looks so bad for the company.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
like
for sure.
Like if like let's say Delhi, right? Like I ride for Delhi. If I go out there and I start hating on people as a Delhi team rider, like how does that make Delhi look? That it makes him look like, oh, you put this asshole on.
Yeah.
And like to me, it's like why there's no room for any of that negativity. There shouldn't be.
Hell
like,
yeah.
So,
like
if you don't
that.
got motion, bro, like do something about it.
Damn, with the you hit him with the no motion.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Wrapping it up here, talking about influencing, and then we're gonna move on to dungeon crawl. All right. But everyone that does content, right, for the most part, has their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's talking fast and sounding like a foul mouth chubby Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah.
My bad. Whether it's starting and finishing every video with yeah. Shout out Esco.
Hell yeah. Shout out.
Or maybe all your videos feel like they were written and produced by AI. Shout out Jake PFB, taking strays in the chat.
Shout out Jake.
Love you, Jake. Love you, Jake. That was too much. I love you, Jake. No, it wasn't. I love you, Jake. But even with you, you got your own thing, right? The whole monotone voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with love, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, though. Is that something you do for aesthetics? Because it definitely does give an aesthetic, definitely does give a vibe.
Yeah.
Or is that just raw Manny? Pause on the raw Manny, but like raw Manny energy.
Yeah. Unpause. But so that's just me. Like like I said earlier, like I wanted like this account or whatever, this journey in fingerboarding to be very like authentically me.
Yeah.
And if you meet me in person, for the most part, like I'm pretty monotone. Like I've been like that my whole life. Like I've had people my entire life tell me like, why do you speak like that? Yeah. And I think now as like an adult and like now that I'm like teaching and stuff, like I've learned how to like put more life into my voice.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like when I'm just chill, like hanging out, fingerboarding, making videos, like I'm like that. Like,
yeah.
So to me, it was like staying true to myself and also not wanting to seem like, oh, like I want to be like like that kind of influencer.
Yeah.
Because then there's going to be times where like if I'm not like that authentically, I'm forcing myself to put on that character.
That front.
And
Hell yeah.
that's going to make me like feel burned out like right away.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So if it's just me like making videos like the way I like to do it, then there's no pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Mm. Give me your high moment as an influencer and your low moment. Like your highest, just give me like one cool moment and one low moment as an influencer.
I think like being looked up to by like younger kids, like I think that's awesome because like I tried to be like a positive role model like for the most part. So when like a kid goes up to me and like tells me like, yo, like I love your videos, or like when I'm at an event and like they hear my voice and they like turn and they're like, wait, I know that voice. That's Manny. Like that's so cool to me because at like some point like I was that kid with my favorite like YouTube people and stuff, and like I would have loved to meet them in person.
Hell yeah.
So like that's like really cool. Like having that feeling, like as much as like people want to downplay that and be like, like I'm just a normal guy, like it's a good feeling. Like being,
hell yeah.
Like it's cool to like know that like kids look up to you that way. And you know, being a teacher too, like I just, you know, I want to be a positive role model for like younger people. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. And then a low, I think just like getting hated on for like just being myself. Like,
Just existing.
yeah, because like I try not to ruffle feathers. Like
Yeah.
I'm very like, bro, I'm 29. Like I know what's gonna get people mad, and like
Yeah.
it sucks that like being authentic is seen as a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've put out any statements that are like, oh, like
Super
you know,
wild.
screw this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like it's just very much been like I'm just calling it as I see it. I'm not lying about
Yeah.
anything. So that's the low. Can't be myself sometimes
There you
without
go.
ruffling feathers.
Okay. Two more questions here in regards to content. Have you ever experienced content burnout? And if so, how have you kind of combated that?
With fingerboarding specifically, I feel like I'm kind of going through it right now.
Okay.
Because like if anyone keeps up with my stuff, like I'm not posting as frequently as I was before. Like I used to do like almost every day,
Okay.
and now it's like once a week maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, like I'm very aware of when when I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to do things to like keep everything fresh.
Yeah.
So like not putting pressure on myself to post. I've been making decks and like, you know, doing all the dungeon crawl stuff.
Hell yeah.
So that's what's keeping me around fingerboarding.
Mhm.
But you know, you just have to know the signs, know what to do when you feel burnout, and just like I think it all boils down to not feeling pressured to do something. And, you know, in this case, it's making videos, and I don't feel that way. And so that's kind of how I'm pushing through this burnout. Like,
Okay.
you know,
I like that. What are your thoughts on the TikTok ban that almost happened, that still may or may not happen?
hey, man,
Well, how you feeling about that?
we could go deep into that, but I'm gonna keep it very surface level.
Okay.
I think we got to keep TikTok alive.
Damn. Shout out
The
TikTok.
algorithm's so unique.
Yeah.
I like to like think that it played a huge role in like making me where I'm, like putting me where I'm at now. So
Mhm.
I hold it like very closely to me. So we got to keep that thing, you know, get someone to save it permanently, because right now it's kind of like
Up in
just
the air.
pushed away, the ban. But it's important. It's an important platform.
Mr. Beast,
Mr. Beast,
save us.
nah, maybe not Mr. Beast.
No, what do you have against Jimmy?
Uh,
Yeah, look,
I
never,
got- I
never
can
mind.
go
He's,
into
never
it.
mind. He's pretty problematic.
yeah, I can go into it. But
Yeah, there you go. The video where he's like, we gave 1,000 amputees legs. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
come on.
whatever, man.
Yeah, no shout out for Mr. Beast. I
Nope.
rescind that. All right, sounds good. Moving on to, I want to touch base. We're almost done here. All right. I want to touch base on Dungeon Crawl now, right? But before we do, I think it's important to just touch base on what you did prior to fingerboarding and stuff, because I understand you had another company.
Yeah,
And I bring it up first because I think it's a big reason why Dungeon Crawl feels so high quality right out the gate.
yeah.
So give us a brief overview of the company you were working with prior to
Yeah.
fingerboarding, whatever.
So my previous company was called Pinaderia. So I used to do enamel pins,
Damn, that's
and
hard.
then eventually kind of branched out into like more like shirts. And the last big thing I did was loteria sets. So
Damn,
if
okay.
for people who aren't familiar, it's like Mexican bingo basically.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 6 years straight. I even did like pop-ups with like Slush Cult back in the day, like before they were doing
the
fingerboarding.
Slush Cult crossover?
Yeah. Like I mentioned it to Clay, and he like remembered the name. He was like, "Yo, I remember you." So it's, you know, it's funny that's where I first learned about Slush Cult, and then, you know, got into fingerboarding, saw that. But yeah, so I did that. I was selling like enamel pins that were like based on like, you know, like Mexican American pop culture.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of like a big like I went through all the hurdles while doing that.
Right.
So coming into like Dungeon Crawl, like I know what not to do.
Yeah.
I know like the smart things to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like why I think Dungeon Crawl seems like a little more polished to people.
Yeah.
Because of that. And also like I'm very big on like not putting out things that I don't truly believe in.
Hell yeah.
So
It
if,
shows. Seriously.
yeah. So like if I want something, whatever I'm making, I want to be able to say like, if this wasn't mine, like I'd be buying it.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of the mentality. And like I made all the mistakes previously, and I'm trying to not make them again.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the moment you decided that you wanted to do Dungeon Crawl. Like, for instance, you are doing the decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
The board rails are sick,
Thank you.
right? The tape is sick.
Mm.
So what was it in your mind? Like, did you feel like something was missing in the scene? Was it just more self-expression? Like, what was that moment like when you said, like, you know what, I'm gonna do a company?
So the first thing I did when I found out about fingerboarding was like, okay, I know people make these, but there's probably a way to get these mass produced.
Hell
And
yeah.
I went into it with like a very like business
Mm-hmm.
oriented view.
Yeah.
So I found like Chinese manufacturers. I threw a bunch of my designs and I had them make them like
Yeah.
as samples.
Yeah.
And you receive them in person and you're like, bro, what is this? Like
Yeah.
they were like bad. Like they're super
Cheeks.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like I already knew I wanted to like make something with it because it's like another way to like put my art out there. Like
Hell yeah.
I'm like if I'm not like a fingerboarder, I'm an artist probably. If I'm not a fingerboarder, I'm not a teacher, I'm an artist, right?
Hell
So I immediately saw that as like, oh, I can like sell my art on this.
Yeah.
And but
And
then
what I don't mean to interrupt you. What kind of art are we talking? Are we talking paint? We're talking pencil, drawings.
it's pencil, but it's
digital?
also digital, like mostly digital, because it's
Okay.
easier to make stuff when it's digital already.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So I quickly noticed that was a way that I could like put my art on, like a way I can sell my art. But
Yeah.
like I quickly, by receiving those samples and getting into the community, I realized like, no, like that's not the right way to go
Hell yeah.
towards this at all. Like, so I started, like learning about the process of making decks. And I was like, this seems like too much for me. It seems like I need to like really learn how to do this right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just like not pay mind to it. And I'm gonna see like what happens down the line. But I had the idea for Dungeon Crawl like super early on, like
Super early.
but it was more of like wanting to be more authentic and involved in
Yeah.
the community before I can really be like, okay, now I'm selling stuff, because I didn't
Right,
want to be
right.
that guy. Like
Yeah.
I gotta respect the community first and feel like I'm a part of it before I can profit off of it, right?
Yeah.
And not profit off of it where the way it sounds weird,
Well, I
but
mean,
it's like
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I got lucky to meet like the right people who pointed me in the right direction of like making decks, like ET from Witch County, obviously. Like, I owe a lot to him because he literally put me onto the whole process
Hell
with
yeah.
like supplemental help from Andre from Panic. Like we had a
Oh,
weird
dude.
connection in our past where we kind of like there's a crossover before
Yeah, yeah.
fingerboarding.
Mhm.
So he was really quick to like, yo, dude, like if you want to make decks, like just let me know. Like I'll help you.
Shout
Yeah.
out those guys.
Yeah.
We still need the Panic Pod.
Oh, bro, I'll pay you to see that.
Yeah.
I'd need that.
Oh
I
yeah, we need that.
Andre,
If you're watching,
get on it, bro.
Get on it.
He's
Pause on the get on it, but
yeah.
unpause. Unpause. We're unpaused. And shout out ET too, by the way.
Yeah, I'd love that guy.
I love that.
Yeah. So before, sorry, yeah, you're about to talk. I'm cutting you off.
No,
bro.
no, it's chill.
Yeah. So before getting into like making the decks, it was like I want to do something a little different. So that's where the board rails, the deck shields come in.
Right, right.
So it was like seeing the board rails and like I can just do board rails the way they've been done, but
Right.
I wanted to do my own thing.
I was about to say you definitely have a unique take on them.
Yeah, so I saw that like there was one company that did metal board rails, but everyone
Yeah.
hated them.
Yeah.
Is from the reaction that I got. So I was like, I want to do this the right way. Shout out to that company though, but
Hell yeah.
I just want to do this the right way because I think
Yeah.
it'd be a sick idea.
Hell yeah.
And
What's the how have they been perceived or received?
people are skeptical about them for sure because
Yeah.
they're so different. They're worried about the weight. They're worried about like how's this gonna affect my obstacles, right?
Yeah.
But I really
I
want
mean, probably no different than trucks though, right?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay.
Like, so that's why I did two different versions of that. I did the heavier ones and I did the lighter ones.
Right.
Because one, like people are automatically gonna assume that metal's heavier.
Yeah.
So I want to have that option for those people.
Right, right.
But I also want to get the people who are like, I don't want to add the weight to my setup.
For sure.
So that's where the lighter ones come in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Talk to me about the name Dungeon Crawl and just the overall branding for the brand. Because again, when we talk about Dungeon Crawl, very few companies hit the ground with like a solid name, solid logo, solid packaging. Like
Yeah.
when you first gave me the board rails, like I couldn't believe how proper it was packaged. Or when you mailed them to
Thank
me.
you. Yeah.
So talk to me about the name, right?
Yeah.
Give me the lore on the background, and then were there any other names in the running?
Yeah. So the first name I had like was Sia Fingerboards because my last name's Garcia. See,
See,
I wanted it to kind of be like just
but don't.
yeah, I just
I
wanted it
like
to be
that.
like a pun, but also not gonna like limit myself with what I can make because dungeon crawl was like the other option,
Okay.
and to like so the reason I went with that is because I love like D&D and like medieval fantasy stuff like
Hell
Lord of
yeah.
the Rings.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, so like dungeon was always gonna be a thing, but I was like, I might limit myself to only that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But then in the end, I was like, that could be my thing. Like
Right.
you need to have your own spin if you want to be unique.
Yeah.
And so that was my thing. So dungeon crawl came to me because I wanted like dungeon in the name, and I was like, dungeon crawlers are like really cool like games, like a genre of games.
Yeah.
But then dungeon crawler was like, it's a little too much for me. And then it just popped in my head like dungeon crawl. Like that sounds a little more
It
like
works. It
yeah,
flows.
it flows.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice. A lot of companies or a lot of people talk about wanting to start companies.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people execute it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people that do execute it, very few of them do it properly.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give some advice to someone who was starting, their fingerboard company right now, day one, what are just some couple tips that, you can give them to help them out?
I would say don't be so quick to put things out. Like, I've had the idea for dungeon crawl for so long,
Right.
that because I wanted it to be perfect and like I took the time to like come up with products that I was happy with.
Hell yeah.
And like even with the decks, like it might seem like it's like coming out pretty quick, but I think I got it down so fast that like everyone I've shown the decks to in person, they're like,
They're
yo,
solid.
this looks like something that, someone who's been making boards for years has done.
Hell yeah.
And that was
but
just
then you have ET and Andre in your corner,
Mhm.
and Panic and Witch decks are like,
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I'm like definitely like those guys are like my mentors, and
hell yeah.
that's the product's gonna speak for itself when it comes out, like
Hell
you're gonna see that I had those guys as my mentors.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, so just make sure that you have a good product, make sure you have good branding, and make sure that you're like ready to like put in the work to like do the social media aspect and like make your whole brand just look very cohesive.
Yeah.
And like you need to look like you know what you're doing.
Hell yeah.
Don't just like learn.
I think I said that earlier. Like if your products look good, if they're
Mhm.
packaged well,
Yeah.
I mean, you want to have a good product, but like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the packaging's going to sell it,
Mhm.
is what sells it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A wise man once told me like the difference between a $10 product and a $100 product or $1,000 product is good packaging. You can sell the same product for $1,000 if the packaging is $1,000 looking.
I love that. Was that Yoda?
Basically.
I love that.
Yeah. The
feel
Yoda
that.
of business.
The Yoda of business.
Yeah.
I love that. As far as for Dungeon Crawl, wrapping it up here,
Mhm.
you're going to be releasing the deck soon.
Yes.
You have the board rails, which are sick, by the way.
Mhm.
You also have the obstacles.
Yeah.
So just in general, when it comes to the obstacles, did
Mhm.
you have much experience making like concrete obstacles?
No.
No.
I learned how to do
Give me the
cre-
overview.
Yeah, so I had experience with making molds, like silicone molds, because of I used to do resin, like
Yeah.
pouring resin to make like weird little things.
Yeah, well,
So,
ashtrays and stuff.
Yeah, so that was kind of like something I was comfortable with, and then just learning how to do like concrete's like very simple.
Yeah.
And it was an easy step up, I guess.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to see the boards. We've
Yeah.
seen the tape. We've seen the rails. We've seen the obstacles.
Yeah.
What can we expect next? Wheels, trucks, merch? What do we got coming up?
All of the above.
Damn.
That's the goal. Like,
Dungeon trucks?
bro,
Damn.
if I get it, if I figure it out, it's coming out.
coming out.
But I'm like that. Like if my favorite part of any process is like my favorite part of putting out any product is the learning process. Like
Okay.
making it work is like what drives me. So
love
right
that.
now I'm like trying to figure out wheels.
I love that.
But I want to sell like every single kind of product. So
That'd be dope.
I'm gonna go down the line with everything.
Little fingerboard empire.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I love that. For Dungeon Crawl, would you ever make yourself pro?
No, I don't think so. Because technically, like everything I put out is kind of like what like, I don't need a pro model if
Yeah.
everything's like my kind of vibe,
Right. Right.
so I don't think so.
Maybe like a meet your maker.
Yeah, I mean,
That'd be sick.
possibly just Manny G on something.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
I feel that. Do you have a team yet? Are you getting the messages yet? Sponsor me.
Yeah, I've gotten the messages before I even had Dungeon Crawl. People,
Is that the best way to get sponsored in your opinion?
no, definitely not. So for me, like if I make a team, which I probably will, it's gonna have to be like homies first.
Yeah.
Like if I don't vibe with you as a person, like you're not gonna be on the team. Because
Hell yeah.
yeah, like I touched on it earlier, like a team member is like an ambassador of the brand.
Yeah.
So I gotta vibe with you like on a personal level first, and then you gotta add some sort of like I need a reason to put you on the team,
Yeah.
right? So you gotta add some sort of value to the team,
Yeah.
and those are gonna be the two things I'm gonna like look for,
Yeah.
but definitely not like a
Well,
random dude DM.
I was about to say, yeah, because I mean, in private, we've talked about teams and stuff, and
Yeah.
like you got to vibe. The
Yeah,
team
yeah.
has to vibe,
Yeah,
or else it doesn't work.
and that's the thing. Like I love about like the guys that I hang out with, like the witch guys, and like Deli. Like we're all very like close,
Hell yeah.
and we can just meet up and fingerboard for hours and talk for
Yeah.
hours. It needs to feel like that before
Hell yeah.
anything. Yeah.
I love that. Being that you're a brand owner now, I wanted to ask you, as a hot topic going around on social media right now in regards to rip-off products and counterfeit products. What are your thoughts? Just give me your general thoughts on that. I know everyone has their own opinion, but from a
Yeah.
business point, from a person who, from a consumer standpoint, what are your thoughts on that? The whole comping the
Yeah.
trucks, comping the obstacles.
Yeah, so I think with any hobby or any sort of little community that is growing like exponentially, you're gonna like name me one community or
Yeah.
like or hobby that doesn't have a Chinese manufacturer that's making bootleg products. Like
Right.
you kind of can't. It's inevitable with
Yeah.
the growth of a space like that.
Mhm.
I think it's weird when people are morality checking the average consumer who's like trying to like, okay, a lot of people are struggling right now, like
yeah.
financially.
I can
It-
relate.
Yeah, we are experiencing late stage capitalism.
We
and-
are broke.
Yeah, and like
Yeah, TikTok.
if some random person is like worried about eating every day,
Yeah.
do you think they're gonna spend $70 on some Black River trucks, or are they gonna spend $15 on the ripoffs?
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's okay. Like plagiarism is so wrong. Like I'm
Right.
the first person
I was
that's
about
gonna
to say,
say
as
that.
an artist, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've been my pins have been ripped off my entire like
Damn.
6 years of making pins.
Yeah.
And to me, like we shouldn't be morality checking the average consumer.
Yeah.
But also on the other hand, it's kind of like if you're in the community
Yeah.
and you know these brands or you've seen the come up of these brands, like I think you should be a little more like respectful about it.
Right.
And I don't know. I just think it's weird. Like I don't think it's an issue that has a right or wrong answer. Like definitely plagiarism will always be wrong, but a lot of the companies that we support openly and put our money to use the same manufacturers or support manufacturers that make ripoffs. And to me, like, why do they get to
Why
put
do they
money
get
in
the
these
pass?
people's pockets?
Yeah.
And why is the finger being pointed at the consumer? I don't think it's fair. And
Yeah.
and to me, like, I'm not gonna buy bootlegs because like I have too much respect for people hustling.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna point the finger at some dude and be like, you're
the
that's-
problem.
Yeah, you're the problem. I'm not gonna do that either.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. We talked about your company. We've talked about your fingerboarding. We've talked about your skateboarding. I want to talk a little bit about you as a fingerboarder to kind of wrap things up here.
Let's do it.
Have we announced the deck company that you're sponsored by? Is there an official announcement, or should we skip on that?
I mean,
I know you've been filming like crazy for it.
I mean,
There's signs.
there's signs.
There will be
but,
signs.
Okay.
Okay. So
Don't
we'll
worry
hold
about
off.
it. Don't worry about it.
All right, we'll hold off. We'll hold off. So when it comes to being sponsored by Deli Trucks,
Yeah.
congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
Give me the overview of how that went down in a few words.
Yeah. So I was like probably the first person to like post a video about them. like the way that
That's
I did,
true.
like
I think
talking
you put
about
me
it.
onto that. I think
Yeah.
you put me onto
Yeah.
that.
So I live so close to like where Sydney lives. So I
Yeah.
got them quick.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like didn't really buy them expecting to like them. Like I
Yeah.
just bought them to try them out, make a video because people were talking about them.
Hell yeah.
And just once I posted that, me and Sydney started going back and forth in the DMs. Then I met him in person, and he kind of was like,
He's
"Hey,
such a
like,
sweetheart.
yeah, he's the best. I love Sydney.
Hell yeah.
Yeah." Um, so yeah, he kind of just mentioned like, "Hey, man, like I've been thinking about putting you on the team." Like it was funny because like ET was gonna pull up. It was at one of your Sunday sessions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and ET was gonna pull up, and I told him like jokingly, I was like, "Hey, it'd be funny to get a picture with you and ET, because then it'd be like me and the guys that everyone like accuses me of like writing for or whatever, you
yeah.
know, because at the time people were already like associating me with delis.
Yeah.
So
The deli guy.
yeah, I said that, and he's like, "Hey, man, like speaking of that, like I've been meaning to like kind of like put you on. Like, is that something you'd want?" And
Hell yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I mean, sure." And then he eventually DM'd me and was like, "All right, officially, I'm asking you, like, do you want to be on the team?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, let's do it."
I remember when we did his pod,
Yeah,
we were talking off cam,
yeah.
and I think we mentioned it in the pod too, and I was so stoked for you. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
I wanted to touch on this though, right? There are definitely a lot of opinions within the community when it comes to getting sponsored.
Yeah,
Some people might feel because you're so new to the scene,
Mhm.
you don't necessarily deserve the sponsors you have, and you're only sponsored because of your social media presence.
yeah,
And I say that not speaking for myself, because
Yeah.
I've obviously had people that think that about me, you
No,
know,
yeah.
and it just comes with the territory, you know?
yeah.
What would you say to someone who holds that mindset over you when it comes to, you know, are your sponsors valid, or is this
Yeah.
just companies chasing numbers, chasing influencers?
So my first reaction to that is like, this person doesn't know how like business works.
Right.
Cause like to me, I looking at it from like a business perspective, I'm gonna put someone on who adds value to the brand.
I love that you said that. So many people, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, go.
So many people don't like talking about that side of fingerboarding, the business side.
Yeah.
And it makes them uncomfortable and it feels icky, but it's like,
Bro.
it's a business. Like all your favorite brands, they're businesses. And,
Yeah.
and sure, you want to put on all the homies that are crazy rippers.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if, sad to say, but if they don't have the influence to sell your product,
Yeah.
like, then
I've-
sure, it's good you're putting on for the homies. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I've seen people say that, like, you know, this person's not a good fingerboarder. Like the job of a team member isn't to sell your product. Like I'm like, bro, like,
Yeah, tell me you don't understand how this works without
yeah,
telling me you
man.
don't understand.
Like
All
that
right.
is the reason. And I had that like imposter syndrome first.
Yeah.
I even thought about saying no to Sydney because I didn't want to
sure.
deal with the backlash.
Yeah.
Because at that point I was fingerboarding for like not even 6. No, I was like 4 months
4
into
months
it or
in,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So like to me, I was already like not gonna want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So I even thought about like saying no. Like maybe we should wait till I'm more
Yeah.
like I'm better at fingerboarding.
Hell yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, I was like, nah, like I'm gonna own this because I want to be the guy that shows people like you can literally be sponsored if you really want it that bad.
Yeah.
You just have to do something about it.
Yeah,
like
work at it.
have something to like
Hell
you know,
yeah.
benefit the company.
Hell yeah. No, even when Dylan and I, you know, talked early on and he told me that he was thinking about starting a brand, and we kind of that, which turned into Awful.
Yeah.
And we talked about like me being on the team.
Yeah.
I remember we were on our way back from Scott's house one night. We were doing a Thursday night sesh. And I texted him that night and I was like, yo, like, if we do this, I want to be on the team. I want to be on the team, not because of like my numbers and because of like,
Yeah.
I want to know that like you want me on the team. For
Yeah.
me, I hate how like
Yeah.
epic that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Dylan was like, dude, like you rip. Like,
Yeah.
I want you. And that's been my biggest thing. Because
Yeah.
you're right. I would hate to be on a team knowing that like I'm on the team just for numbers.
Yeah, you're the social
Yeah.
media guy,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah. So that's
Like I do know my
yeah.
role, but at the same time, you know,
Yeah.
I know I come with the tricks.
Exactly. You can rip. So
Yeah.
like also it's funny because I had to have that conversation with Sydney where it was like,
Oh yeah.
hey dude, I'm a content creator. I might have to like use other products and talk
for
about
sure.
them. Like, is that cool with you? And he was like, yeah, dude, talk about whatever. He's like,
Hell yeah.
He would even tell me like, bro, put a set of like dynamic trucks, put a set of BRTs on your setups.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Like, that's not
Yeah.
why I have you on the team.
Yeah, no,
So
heck yeah.
there's also that aspect to it.
No,
So,
hell yeah. Luckily, me personally, I haven't had that issue.
yeah,
Dylan was always super cool about
yeah,
like he understood the assignment.
yeah,
David from Pyro, same deal.
yeah.
No issues. So
Hey, it's
I love it.
the company owners are usually chill. It's the weirdos that are like, you can't do that. Like
shouldn't do that. Shouldn't
those are
write
the
on
ones
people's
that have
products. Yeah, I can't. To each their own. But
yeah.
the whole like not being able to write other people's products.
It's
I
super
get
weird.
I get for other random people, but if you're an influencer, there has to be
Yeah, it's gonna
a
happen.
gray area. You know. All right.
Yeah.
Wrapping it up here. Rapid questions. Dream sponsors.
Oof.
You already got the deck. You already got the trucks. Who are we thinking wheels?
The only wheels I use are Blue wheels.
Damn! Shout out Jamie.
So Jamie, like,
Jamie, if you're watching, we need
Jamie.
the sponsorship.
come on, Jamie.
Come on, Jamie. we need the Manny on the team. We need the Glows
I mean,
Pro. Come on,
I'm
Jamie.
not eager to like be on any like team. Like, I love supporting too. So, but hey, that's it. Those are the only wheels I use. So that it technically is my like dream sponsor.
I love it. I'm not going to question it.
Yeah.
What is the biggest misconception about Manny G?
I think it's that I'm a hater for some reason.
Damn.
Or, like,
you give hater
I've-
vibes?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I've ever gotten hater vibes from you.
exactly, and I've heard that a lot of people don't like me for some reason, and like, whatever.
Damn.
Like that's the misconception is that like I'm not a chill guy, but I am a chill guy.
Just a chill guy.
Yeah,
Cue the music.
there you go.
I love that. All right, here we go. What is your death blow in a game of skate? You got someone on E? You got someone on the ropes? What are you going in for that you know you're going to land first tee?
It's nothing crazy, but like a good like fakey heel will get someone.
Damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are deadly.
Fakey heel.
I love it. In a game of skate, who's going to win? Mike Schneider or Jesus?
One of those I can tell you exists for sure.
Okay.
So I think it's Mike.
Damn. Didn't mean to get all deep with that. Holy Not going to question it.
Hey man.
It was a trick question, though.
Hey, I've seen Mike Schneider's videos. I never seen Jesus's videos.
Damn. We're going to leave it at that, dude.
Yeah.
Jake's punching the air right now.
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out Jake. I love Jake. It was a trick question, though. Mike Schneider is God.
There you go.
And there you go. Who are your biggest supporters?
Yeah. Shouldn't have asked me that, bro.
No. Is this it? Is this tell me you brought a list.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. This is the first list on the Bigspin. Go ahead.
I
let's
just
hear
didn't
it.
want to miss anyone.
I feel it.
Yeah. So my biggest
You
supporters.
didn't miss me, did you? Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. My bad. Go ahead.
All right. My girlfriend, my brothers, my parents, Jet, E.T., Sydney, Ernie, Lucas, Karl Marx, Esco, Void, Bag of Chips, Modern Medicine,
Hell yeah.
Andre from Panic, and
Hell yeah.
Cowboy Fingers. This was
Damn.
more of a shout out list,
No.
but I
there
mean,
you go.
it's the same thing.
Supporters, shout out list.
Shout
I
out
love
Modern Medicine, bro.
it. I love it. Let
Keeps
me
me
ask
alive.
you, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
I think the only one I know,
Okay.
like off the dome, is like Love Story.
Sing it.
We were both young.
Damn, I can't believe you almost sang it right there.
I
Shout
mean,
out Manny for just
yeah.
being a real one.
There you go.
Are you going to Fingerboard Con this year?
No, but I'm
FingerboardCon
hoping
3.
to catch it like the year after. I have a trip
Damn.
planned like this year
I feel
already, and hey, man, times are tough with money. So
No, hey. You ain't gotta tell me
yeah,
twice.
I am going to the Black River store. So if
Really?
the Chicago one, yeah, I'm going to a show out there,
Hell
and
yeah.
so I'm planning a day around that. So
Dude,
it's kind
you
of
have to. It's
around
beautiful.
there. Yeah,
Just give give Andy an open mouth kiss from me when you
there
see
you
him.
go.
Okay, quick rapid fire question. Okay, I'm gonna give you two. You give me back one. I'm gonna say two. You just give me one. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
Ready?
Del Taco, Taco Bell,
Taco Bell,
Slush Cold or the Vault?
Slush Cold.
Wow, good answer. Angel tape or your tape?
Bro,
My bad,
bro.
big dog.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. You know what?
I-
We'll give you the pass. We'll give you the pass. ET and shout out ET. Shout out Esco.
Hey, bro, they both have their strengths. Okay, that's all I can say.
The only answer is Goblin tape.
There you go. Goblin
Nollie or switch?
Nollie.
0.5 or 1 millimeter?
0.5.
Skateboarding or fingerboarding?
Fingerboarding.
Black River or dynamic?
Deli. No,
Damn,
if I
there
had
you
to
go.
choose, dynamic.
It's deli for sure, but if you had to choose,
Dynamic.
love it. Smash, Mary, Kill. Jake PFB, Slush God, Sid from Dally Decks. Go.
Oh, Okay.
Damn.
All right. I'm gonna kill Jake.
Damn. That was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick. You know, hey,
I
stick it to him.
I just
literally.
know him like that, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'd feel weird killing like Clay, 'cause I don't know him like that.
Wait, so you like it would like be like a passion kill for Jake?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to say that I'm gonna kill Clay, because like we're not tight like that. Like,
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So wait. Okay.
because that could be seen as like a slight. Like, you
Okay.
know,
No. Continue. You're killing Jake.
I'm killing Jake. First thing,
Who you marrying?
Sydney.
So you don't know Slush God well enough to kill him, but you know him well enough to blow his back out. Bro.
Bro.
Listen,
me and
listen.
Sydney are like this already.
All right.
He's wifey material.
Wifey material. Jake is 6 feet under, and Clay is can't
Yeah,
walk
we
for a
got it.
week.
Yeah,
There you
there
go.
you go.
Manny GFB. This is the end of your Big Spin podcast. Yo, thank you so much. Shout out
Of
to
course.
you.
Thank you.
And shout out to Dungeon Crawl. And just thank you so much for sitting down with me. And I'm a fan. And honestly, it's super cool that we get to just hang out. And yeah, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, bro.
Big Spin Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Where can people find you online?
Manny GFB.
What does the
Dungeon
G
Crawl.
stand for? What does the G stand for?
Bro.
No, bro. Well, what,
Goblin.
everyone asks Jake what the G stands
There you
for.
go.
Ask him what he said at Denny's. Other than that, love you guys so much. Big Spin Podcast. Thanks so much.